So we thought this year we would kick off with wellness. Gardening for wellness. It's all well and good to garden for an end result. I garden because I want tomatoes. That's great. But there's also a bunch of hidden benefits in there, and maybe if they're not so hidden, maybe if we can focus on that, it'll give us a new idea about gardening, help make us better gardeners, and give us that kind of oomph. Because, we were talking to a farmer on our podcast from Hartwell?
Yeah,
Hartwell?
Hartel.
Hartel. So close. Hartel Homestead. Great guy. We got along really well. Really great episode. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend it. But even he was saying he suffers from burnout in the season. We have a short season and people burn out. So I got some notes here. I'm going to go through them. We're going to take our time. I'm going to talk about some things that I work on, things that I've learned. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about learning who we are as gardeners, routines. Can we make it? I don't think you're ever going to make gardening stress-free, but can we limit the stresses that we're going to face? Because what might be a stressor for me isn't a stressor for you, and vice versa. We're going to look at plants. Easy to grow versus rewarding. Sometimes it's very rewarding, but it's not easy. Vice versa, or it is easy and rewarding. So we're going to kind of cover everything. But I really like this, and shout out to Brandy, because this was her point, is understand what kind of gardener you are. And I think a lot of people, especially now, social media and everybody out there, and they see what they would like to be, but maybe that's not what they are. And I can be guilty of that when I see what other people do, and I go, ooh, I'd like to be that kind of hiker, but I'm not. I got bad legs, I'm a little long in the tooth. I'm an easy hiker. Yeah, I might be able to make it up a mountain, but I'm certainly not rock climbing. I don't have ropes and gear and whatnot. I'm very much a 2 feet in a backpack. So when it comes to gardening, I'm very much a get it done gardener. I will put on my garden clothes. I will be out there first thing in the morning, and I will go 6, 7, 8 hours until the jobs are done that I wanted to get done. And then Jenny, my wife, so I watch her garden, and she's very much an aesthetic care gardener. She likes going out and watering and deadheading and inspecting and checking the growth. Like, most of the time, she's the one who first notices our tomatoes are forming, because she's out there and she's looking and she's examining, and both are totally fine. There's also, are you a solitary gardener or a community gardener? There's a lot of talk about community gardens. I've done a whole bunch. This year I think I've done 3 seminars on community gardens. The funny thing is, when it comes to, I will absolutely do that. I've done community gardens. We'll be doing another one this year. But when I'm gardening, and it's just for me, I'm a solitary gardener. I like to garden myself. I like to do certain projects with people, but I find gardening, it's a form of meditation. It helps me relax. It helps clear my head. So I'm a solitary gardener, and that's totally fine. You can be both. You can be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Are you a florist or a farmer? I'm a bit of both. My flowers bring me the biggest joy. Like, I'm still blown away by this begonia. But I absolutely love growing my food and eating fresh tomatoes and peas and beans and cucumbers, kohlrabi. So it's not an all or nothing. It's finding out where your niche is, because I think once we know that, I know some people. I've got some very good friends. They love gardening and they are good at it. They could care less about flowers. It's not where their brain is. They want production. They want food. They're growing to make sauces and jams and jellies and pies and put things in the freezer, and amazing. Love it. Love watching it. Love getting the food that they give me. Hot sauces and tomato sauces and whatnot. That's not where my enjoyment is. So it's very okay to have all of those differences. We don't have to fit into a niche. We don't have to be something. But if we know what we are, If I know that I prefer my flowers to my veggies and I have limited space, I'm not going to grow veggies. It's going to leave me cold. I'm going to be like, why am I doing this? But every time I see my flowers, it makes me happy. That's what I'm going to do. So one of the things that we can focus on when we're gardening, and I kind of talked about this because I'm a get it done gardener. I want to do it all. But if we set ourselves a daily, a weekly, a bi-weekly, a monthly checklist that we can do and we can stay on top of it. So daily, if you're growing veggies, especially in containers, full sun, daily you're probably watering. That is going to be a daily task. And if we stop and we look at that and we go, well, I don't have time daily. I've got a very busy life. I got to get the kids out of school. Then I go to work. Then I pick the kids up. Then we're off to sports practice. Then it's home, then it's supper, then it's bedtime. Where am I meant to fit watering in? Maybe look at something different. Maybe look at doing plants that don't need as much water. Maybe you want to start building a native plant garden with, rough fescues and prairie crocus, willows, whatever the case might be. And you want something that is eventually going to be drought tolerant, somewhat lower maintenance, still beautiful, but you don't have to think about it. So if we start by looking at what we can accomplish in a day, in a week, in a month, it'll allow us to be more successful in that aspect of our gardening. So again, I'm very busy in the spring by the very nature of what I do for a living. So I will spend a day, no problem, and do all of the planting. Jenny and I do that together and we have fun. And then Jenny tackles the daily chores. She goes out and waters and deadheads and checks everything out. And then I do the weekly ones, the fertilizing, the weeding, and then the bi-weekly or the monthly ones, cutting the grass, trimming the grass. I'll either do that or I'll pay somebody in the neighborhood to do it. My kid's friend, whoever, there's some cash, cut my grass. So I've got that system figured out. I know what works. And then you have your as needed. We can't really schedule if we're going to get aphids. We can't really schedule when we're going to be harvesting. So we do have to maintain a little bit of loosey-goosey time that we know we're going to have to jump in. And there was one thing, I hope everybody's got their teas and their coffees. It's a bit of a drab day in Calgary. Not as bad as they said. Maybe that rain's going to hit us a bit later. But it's been a glorious week. Bit cooler today, but that nice weather is coming back. So one of the things Brandy and I saw when we were researching this episode and how we wanted to come at it. It's very easy to throw things out there like set a goal, but a lot of times people don't know what that looks like, especially people who are new to gardening, and we see them all the time. People who are coming in and they have they want to plant their balcony for the first time. They just bought a house and they have a garden for the first time. And they're really not sure what goes into doing it. And it's what they call SMART goals. Not always a big fan of anagrams. Sometimes they don't make sense. Sometimes corporate anagrams, forget about it. I'm not very good with that. But I like this one because it's pretty driven. So SMART goal is specific. I just learned this. That's why I have to read it. I don't know this one. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So when we're looking at our garden, we may want to go and do something. We may want to go weeding, but we only have 10 minutes. Okay? It's not really in the correct timeline to get changed, get the tools, get out there, get down, start weeding, to put everything away, to go do whatever it is you have to do. It's not achievable. You're not going to be able to do the weeding in that time. Relevant, but it's not checking all the boxes. So we look at something and we go, okay, in the allotted time I have, what can I do? So I did a couple of examples, and one is deadheading. I go, okay, I need to deadhead. I can deadhead my window boxes. So it's a specific task. It's measurable because I know it's just my window boxes. So 3 window boxes all need to be deadheaded. It's achievable. I know that I can deadhead those window boxes in, depending on how many deadheads, depending on the last time I did it, 5 to 15 minutes. So I have a time-bound objective now, and it's relevant. Needs to be done. I'm looking at deadheads, and it's going to help my plants grow. So if we kind of step back and we look at that and we go, can I break my tasks down? And there's not too many. This isn't an overwhelming thing. You know, if you're doing just containers, you really don't have to worry about weeding. If you're just doing flowers, you don't have to worry about harvesting. So you really just kind of look and be like, deadheading, watering, fertilizing. When can I do these jobs? And that's how we get into it. And then when we look at it, we kind of go, okay, so that's our SMART goals, but what are our goals? And I know there are some people, every year I get people who come up to me, and I'm talking friends here, not customers, though I do get this as well. But I get friends who come up to me and they want to try something new in their garden. This year I've been asked about somebody growing certain vegetables in shade for the first time. A friend of mine wants to replace turf in their yard for a bee-friendly turf. So that's got a lot of wildflowers, clover is in there. That's an important one. Grows nice and low, very low maintenance, brings pollinators into the yard. They're growing veggies anyway. They wanted some advice on how to do that. So when you're looking at that and you're deciding, do I want to do these plants? What am I looking at? And I mentioned this at the beginning. This is where we look and we go, do we want rewarding? Do we want easy? Is it both? Because for some people, a geranium can be rewarding. For other people, a geranium can leave them cold. They look at a geranium, and I've seen both people. Absolutely, clients of mine when I landscaped, customers here, friends. Some people love the geranium. They cannot get enough of it. I mean, it's a beautiful flower. Two-tone, well, that one's three-tone. It's got 2 tones of pink and a beautiful white center. There's corals, there's reds, there's whites, there's pinks. They all play well together. Pretty darn hardy. Relatively bug and disease-free. The geranium is a great plant, but for some people it's not rewarding. Okay, they're like, I don't enjoy it. I look at that geranium and there's no oomph. It doesn't give me anything back, but it's easy. So you go, oh, well, it's easy. I don't mind it. I don't have to worry about it. It looks nice. I can live with it. And then you're going to have people out there who are going to look at certain things and they go, I want to grow basil. And every single year, I get asked by numerous people, online, email, in person, how to grow basil, because they've grown basil and it didn't work in Calgary. A lot of that is, Calgary is great for basil until it isn't. And what I mean by that is we get a ton of light. It gets really warm and it's dry. Perfect conditions for basil until we get rain or hail. And the basil does not like cold water hitting it from above. It does not like standing in water, and it certainly doesn't like ice. And you know, anybody who isn't from Calgary who's tuning in, some of our hail is, you know, size of a loonie. And that's hitting the leaves, it's melting around it, it's making it cold. A lot of times people lose all of their basil. So basil is a very rewarding plant. We eat it, we smell it, it tastes great, there's so much about it. It's kind of a cool thing being like, yeah, I grew basil, but it's not easy. So that might cause stress. You've got the exact opposite of basil, which is mint, which might be too easy to grow. So you grow mint, you put it in your garden, you go, oh my God, this is amazing. Look how good I'm doing. But in a couple of years' time, now that mint could have become a weed. So finding all of these balances are very important. And again, it's what's important to you. So both of these plants, basil and mint, I've grown both of them. I grow them in a pot. I know there's cold weather coming. We're going to get rain. We're going to get hail. My basil comes indoors. I don't bring my mint in for anything. But I don't put my mint in the garden because it will spread and I will end up with a problem. So the mint gets its own pot. So learning how to grow these plants to make them easier so we can get the reward is really important as well. Because I don't enjoy going through the motions. I just in the last few years, I got into cooking. And one of the most disheartening things for me is when I spend a long time in the kitchen baking or making a meal, and I'm putting it all together, and I'm really excited, and the meal is just, or the cookies, whatever I've made, are just like, eh. And I'm like, oh, it sucks. It feels like a gut punch. You're like, what did I do wrong? Like, why did I do all of this effort for no reward? But we learn. We ask people. I asked my sister. Could not make a banana bread to save my life. Told my sister. She gave me one tip about an ingredient. I changed it. Hey presto, I now, if I make banana bread, it turns out a heck of a lot better. I'm not going to say it's the best banana bread. It is. But I'm not going to say that there's plenty of people who make a better banana bread than me. But by not giving up, by talking to somebody, I learned how to get my reward, which also has nothing to do with gardening, except maybe when you're done gardening, a cup of tea and a piece of banana bread, always a good thing to have. How times have changed. There's a few years ago when, after a day of gardening, it was having a beer and maybe a cigar. And now I'm like a cup of tea and banana bread. So we want to learn as we're doing that. So what I was kind of talking about there leads us into our next point, which is stress-free. And again, stress-free is a misnomer. It's like people saying a zero maintenance garden. There's no such thing. Your garden is always going to cause you a little bit of stress. Ask anybody who gardens here when there's a hail or a frost warning. We get stressed. We run out, we're covering stuff with blankets, we're texting our friends to let them know. There's always going to be a level of stress. Doesn't matter how well prepared we are. There's always going to be maintenance. There's always going to be a deadhead or a plant that isn't doing as well, or bugs or disease. That is always going to be there. So I think if we embrace that right from the beginning and don't tell ourselves stress-free gardening, we are trying to make it with as little stress as possible, then we will do better at the end. If somebody tells me something is stress-free and I go in believing it's stress-free, the moment I get stressed, I'm like, whoa, I may have an adverse reaction because that's not what I was expecting. Where if I tell myself, nope, there is going to be stresses, I can mitigate some, I can expect some, then I can deal with it better. So we're going to look for things that are going to make our life easier. Maybe weeding causes you stress. Maybe you're like, I hate weeding, I can never get on top of it, I cannot do it. Maybe then you want to look at doing fabrics, mulches, container gardens, and just get rid of that whole mentality of weeding. There's ways to do it where you can put fabric, cut a hole, put a root feeder in so you can feed directly the plant, and then everything else is covered with fabric. You'll drop your weeding by 90%. Now it's going to be difficult to put any new plants in because you've got to pull mulch, you've got to cut fabric, you need another root feeder, etc., etc. But it can be done. So you look at what is causing you the stress and we go, how can I avoid that? Maybe the stress is watering. Maybe you do really, really, really want those container gardens, but again, you do not have the time to water daily. Maybe you need to kind of take a fallow year, save some money, or be prepared to spend a bit more money and get a small drip line irrigation system. Get something on a water timer, you set it, you forget it, every day it's going to drip water into your pots, they're taken care of, you can get about your life, and then on the weekends when you have a bit more time, you can get out and tend to your garden. So we're going to look for those things that are going to make our life easier. You don't want to use any chemical sprays whatsoever, but you're right next to a huge, wild, open area. Maybe planting zucchini isn't for you. So zucchini, pretty easy, extremely rewarding because you get a ton of veggies off of it. A lot of people love zucchini. It can take up a massive amount of area. Once it starts growing, it can be aggressive and it can get powdery mildew. If you don't want to handle an aggressive plant that can also get powdery mildew, go get your zucchinis at the farmer's market and plant something else. That's what we have to do. We have to look. I don't eat a lot of potatoes, don't see a whole lot of value in them, to be 100% honest, just speaking personally here, if I want potatoes, I'm happy getting them from the store or the farmer's market. I'm not going to waste my time gardening on something that other people I know go nuts for. They tell me about the different varieties and they show them to me, and this one's great for baking, and this one for mashed potatoes, and this one for fries. I'm like, wonderful, it's a potato. I use the same potato for everything. Roasting, mashing, fries. I sound like a hobbit. Put it in a soup. Boil them, mash them, put them in a pie. Something like that. Was that the line?
Yeah.
Yep, there we go. So, but that is my approach to it. So, when I look at it, I'm going, well, that's going to leave me cold. It's not very rewarding. It's going to cause me more stress than I care to for a potato. So I'm going to move on and I'm going to grow an extra tomato, an extra pepper. Some people, pepper's on their jam. It's not hot enough. They got to do a greenhouse. They got to do this. So they're like, I'll buy a bushel of Carolina Reapers from the store and I'm good. I'm taken care of. I'll get my jalapenos elsewhere. Keeping gardening fun and engaging. So, again, I'm a solitary gardener. I like going out there. I like listening to the bugs and the birds. I'll garden with Jimmy because he minds his own business. I'll throw a stick for him. He does his thing. I do mine. But a lot of people, they want that engagement. Garden with a friend. Get a hold of a friend and be like, hey, why don't we weed together? We can talk. We can listen to music. Have a cocktail. Have a weeding party. Guaranteed it can be the same amount of weeding. You can spend 2 hours weeding, but you spend 1 hour with a friend at your place and 1 hour with a friend at their place. The job probably doesn't seem as big. You've got companion, you're laughing, you're joking. Get that engagement. Get the family out doing it. Some of my best memories are me as a child gardening with my dad and me as a dad gardening with my child. Okay, those two, different things, being the kid and the dad, both hold very dear memories for me. Gardening with my dad and him spraying me with the hose and running around and laughing and him helping me plant and teaching me what plants were, letting me eat them, me doing the same with Harry. Wonderful memories, core memories. Didn't seem like a chore. It seemed fun. Yeah, there were some jobs that sucked, but we did them together. Harry and I laughed about them and we dealt with them. And yeah, you get some thorns. You might get a bee sting, a wasp sting. So what? You move on. Get the kids involved. Get the family involved. Get the friends involved. Or just do it yourself. Play your music. Put your AirPods in. Your headphones on. Play your stereo. My neighbors quite often have their stereo going. Doesn't bother me at all. They're outside, they're having fun, they're listening to their music. I'm all about that. I don't care. Not my taste in music, but who cares? They're enjoying it. So get out there. Get creative. Try new things. You have an old bicycle in the garage. You don't know what to do with it. It's just been sitting there. Clean it up. Get rid of all of the oil. Take the chain off if you have to. Clean it up. Some hydrogen peroxide. Get it nice. Anchor it onto a fence. Now you have a really cool trellis for your beans to grow up, for your morning glory. You got something fun and unique. Look for that kind of fun thing that you can do that's a little bit different. Make your own plant tags. I was talking to my sister this morning, because if I haven't mentioned, it's her birthday. And we were talking about that, and what my sister told me is plant tags. So what I do is I write it down. I write tomato and I write the type and I put it in, and that's it. Or I buy them and they say tomato, whatever. My sister brought up a good point. If you're gardening with a little one, or maybe somebody who has limited cognitive ability, they may not be able to read the word. Draw a picture of a tomato. Let your kid draw a tomato. Now you got a tag. Now you have a unique tag that kid was part of, and they can help you grow the tomatoes. So there are ways to engage and bring different projects in and have fun. Journaling, write what worked. It may seem like a small chore now. You come in after gardening, like, oh, do I really want to write this down? Next year, it'll pay you a dividend. When you're sitting at this time of year and you're thinking about your garden and you bust out the journal and you go, oh, I remember zucchini now. I don't want that. That became a bit of a nightmare for me. You get rid of zucchini, now you've got bigger area and you can grow your potatoes and give them to me because I don't want to grow potatoes. See how this works? It's all about me. Fitbit. I love gardening with my watch on. I hate it because I'm always worried about the dust going into my watch or it getting wet. But I love charting my steps in my garden. How many steps did I, how many calories did I burn? What kind of workout did I get while I was doing it? I don't look at it while I'm doing it. I'm just doing my thing. I'm raking, I'm weeding, I'm cutting the grass, I'm whatever. And at the end I look and I go, oh my, I've even screenshotted them and sent them to Brandy before, being like, look what I did today. So it's fun. That's what engages me, and it can force me to be like, the next time I go out, I'll be like, wow, I really thought I did more than that. Okay, next time I'm going to do more. And I go even harder. I'm not saying that has to be your goal, but that's what I enjoy. Understand, same thing as stress and maintenance free, they don't exist. Understand you'll never win. You'll never be done. You may be done for a day. You may be done a project. You may be done one of your SMART goals, like your deadheading. But there will be more to do the next day, the next week. You're never going to get it perfect. Never. There's always going to be a learning curve. There's always going to be a bug. There's always going to be that one plant that didn't make it. There's going to be that. We hear this all the time. Everybody, grow mint. It's super easy. And we all know that person in our life who's like, every time I grow mint, it dies. And you're like, wow, what are you doing? And you try and help them. But you're not going to get perfect. You're not. It doesn't matter how easy the plant is. They have a mind of their own. I know somebody, they can grow pounds and pounds and pounds of tomatoes and they can't grow microgreens. I have found microgreens growing on a napkin that I threw in my garbage. I planted microgreens. I had some left over. I just tossed them in the garbage in my office. I looked at my garbage can. They'd landed on a napkin and they'd sprouted off the napkin. I have another friend who cannot get microgreens going. So maybe they're caring for them. Maybe there's too much moisture, not enough heat. I don't know, but we all have that thing. And if we understand that going in, we'll all do a little bit better when we get there. So some fun notes, some things, and I'm going to talk about some things here that I have to work on, that I'm learning as we go, because I'm never done learning, ever. I've been doing this for over 30 years. And I've still got goals that I'm trying to hit. So gardening is proven to be a great activity for all ages, all levels of cognition, and all levels of ability. Doesn't matter, kids or seniors, adults with disabilities, people with limited mobility, it does not matter. Gardening helps them. It is a wonderful activity. Doesn't matter if they just pop a couple of deadheads or you give them the watering can to feed. I remember, I've got pictures years and years ago with kids, little kids, this high, and they wanted to water. They did not have the strength to lift the watering can. So I was watering, but they were holding the watering can. In their brain, they were gardening, and they loved every second of it. So it is good for all ages. And my mum loved her garden, absolutely loved her garden. As she got a bit older, she couldn't garden anymore, but she still loved looking at it. So I would garden for her, my sister would garden for her, and Mum would just sit and love. She could sit and look at her flowers for hours, and that made her happy. So even that level, there's an enjoyment there for all kinds of people, and it's so wonderful for us. This is absolutely being proven. There are numerous studies and facts from institutes, universities, all over the world. Gardening can boost confidence, it can boost esteem, it can boost our mental wellness, our physical health, our spiritual health. It can help ease anxiety, increase brain power. It can help boost and build relationships. It can, and I know I'm making it sound like it's this cure-all. It's not. Absolutely it's not. Everything needs other things involved. But, you know, in the spring, I'm crazy busy. I can be working 6-7 days a week. Jenny is a photographer. A lot of people want to do shoots in the spring because, you know, nicer weather. We can both be very busy coming and going. We set aside a day in the spring for our planting day. We always do that together. I come out in my beat up gardening clothes, my gardening hat. Jenny comes out looking like a rock star. She's got a gardening outfit. She's just slaying it. and we have a blast, and we joke around, and we talk about it, we do different things, we love it. And it's a real good thing when we're both so busy that day, right there for the relationship. Gardening boosts, you can ask Brandy, ask anybody who knows me. I've been doing this for however long I am. I just planted seeds this morning. Guaranteed, the moment those seeds sprout, I am going to spam the hell out of Brandy with photographs at like 6 one morning and be like, yeah, look at my seedlings. And I will be so excited, and it will give me confidence. It will boost my esteem. I will feel pretty awesome. Not all of them may live. I will deal with that when it comes, but it helps. It is all of those things. Physical health. I like to push myself. I like to do the Fitbit. But even if you don't, getting outside in the sunlight for half an hour and just raking, get a little bit of cardio, it's not going to be a bad thing. So gardening absolutely can help with all of those things in our life. Start small. Start with your proven winners. You've never gardened, you're intimidated, you don't know what you're doing. A couple of containers, stick some flowers in them. Talk. It'd be like, I get a lot of shade, what can I do? Begonias, look how beautiful that is. I think I've said that about 4 times now. I'm just going to keep buying it. It's not for sale because I've literally talked myself into buying it. But get some begonias and put them in the shade. And then you go, oh my God, they looked amazing all season. Next year, maybe you'll try 4 containers. Maybe you'll try begonias and impatiens. Maybe you'll start trying some new things. Maybe you'll do some shade veggies. Start small and build on that success. Within 2, 3, 5 years, you're up and running and you don't even realize it and you feel great doing it. And then hopefully you nerd out in the spring like we do. Learn your timing and set timers. Brandy mentioned that one when we were discussing the episode, and it's so good. Set a timer, learn your timing. Don't get sidetracked on the tasks, because that can happen. We can be deadheading and then we go, oh, I better weed. Oh my God, look over here. I need to edge my bed. Before I know it, I was working here and I'm halfway across my garden and I haven't finished any job. So learn my timing. When I go out and water the first time, I'm going to time, and I still do this because it's just the way my brain goes. And I'll go and I'll be like, okay, wait, 10 o'clock. And I go out with my watering can and I water and I fill it up and I water and I come back in, I go 10:25. It took 25 minutes to water everything in the garden. Now I know on a watering day, maximum I need 25 minutes. I may be able to do it in less, maybe some days I need a little bit more, but 25 minutes is what I'm looking at. If I do tend to get sidetracked, I can set a timer and be like, stay on it, stay on focus, like Star Wars, stay on target, stay on target. That was when they were flying in the trench in the original Star Wars. I'm also a Star Wars nerd. Something I have to do, Jenny and I were talking about this year, and it's something I really need to work on, is the all or nothing mentality. I can look and I can be like, I am not going to get changed and get all ready and only do 1 hour in my garden. There's no point. If I'm going to be out there, I need to be out there for 5 hours. Go out for an hour. It's an hour less the next time I need to go out. But I get it built up in my brain, like working out. I can do this to myself. What's the point in working out? I've only got 20 minutes. Any doctor, anybody you speak to, if you're like 20 minutes of activity versus 0 minutes of activity, they're going to tell you 20 minutes. Same thing. An hour worth of gardening versus no gardening, do the hour if you've got it. It's no big deal. You don't want to get changed, you don't feel like making a big rigmarole, do the easy jobs. Watering, fertilizing, deadheading. Okay, pruning, all of those easy ones. You don't have to, cut the grass and whatnot. You may need to build your timing. But I still have to work on that one in a number of aspects in my life. Embrace imperfection. We're going to fail. When I started growing houseplants, never really did houseplants. I always had a couple, but never anything major. When I started getting into houseplants, I killed a ton of them. I didn't know how to water them, didn't know their light requirements, had no idea what I was doing. Asked friends, got them to help me. They kept teaching me. I had to learn that lesson way more than once. I probably killed more houseplants than I killed garden plants on my learning curve. Maybe not as many over the span, but at the start, I was terrible. Now I have houseplants everywhere. I'm growing them, I'm propagating them, I give them away. But I had to learn. I had to fail. I couldn't be perfect, and I got there. Ask for help, tips, advice, hacks. Want to brand these things is always look for the best life hacks out there. As you can tell, gardeners, we love to talk. We love to give you. I always equate it to when you eat something at somebody and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. What's in it? And they're like, oh, I can't tell you. You know, it's a big secret. It's a big. You ask a gardener, oh my God, your tomatoes are amazing. What did you do? Yeah, I hope you have half an hour or more. Because they're going to list everything they did to the type of the tomato, where they got it, and when they planted it, and blah, blah, blah. And their grandmother had taught them this trick, and you better use it too. Everything. So ask for the help. Grow what you love. We've already talked about that. Or, in the case of like my mom, or when I'm growing food for somebody else, grow what other people love. I'm not a huge fan of broccoli. I know people who like it. I grow it for them. Okay, so you grow nothing better than growing something and giving it to somebody you love, somebody you care about, a friend, family member, colleague, and you give it to them and you see the look on their face, you know you did that. I prefer doing that than growing stuff that I love. I prefer growing stuff for other people just to see the look on their face because it makes me, it's almost selfish. I'm doing it for them, but I get a hell of a lot out of it too. Work with wildlife, not against it. We just did a podcast about what's digging in my garden. Brandy and I are both huge fans of limiting chemical sprays as much as possible. We don't want to hurt birds. We don't want to hurt wildlife. If something isn't eating your garden, you're not part of the ecosystem. I see squirrels steal my tomatoes, sit on the fence and eat them right in front of me. Bon appetit, little guy. I see bugs. It's not an infestation. Meh, they're okay. Ladybirds will come along eventually and take care of it. Work with it. You have a huge infestation of weeds, powdery mildew. Yeah, we may need to treat it. Absolutely. But we work within the parameters as much as we can. This one I had to learn. I was really bad for this when I first started. Organize yourself. So I was the king of doing something and just dropping my tool and going on and then being like, oh hell, where did I leave it? And then I'm wasting 5 minutes looking around for it. Organize myself. Have a caddy. Use the tool. Lean it against the fence so I can see it. My pruners, I've got a holster, so I put them on my belt. These are the things I had to learn to do to make life easier so that I wasn't a chore. It can be very frustrating when you're running around just constantly looking for stuff. Just a little bit of organization, a little caddy, an old pot. You got an old 2-gallon pot, you planted a raspberry bush. Keep it, clean it out, put your hand tools in it. Celebrate, embrace, and share your small wins. Like I said, I share mine. I get a seedling, I've grown a million seeds. I get a seedling, I'm sharing it. Jenny sees it, Brandy sees it, Harry sees it, my sister sees it. I'm sharing it with everybody. I'm loving it. I'm sharing the growth. I get super excited. I tell my colleagues when they come by my office, share the picture on your social media, put it on your stories. Who gives a damn? Take a selfie with your seeds. Whatever it takes, embrace it because it feels good. It boosts our confidence. And anybody who's like, who cares? Bam, weed them out. Okay, like my gardening analogy there, weed out the haters. Keep individualization. Do what you want and do it how you want. Like I said, Jenny and I dress very differently for gardening. Some people want reds and yellow and purple pots. Others want just black. There is no right or wrong answer. Gardening is not one size fits all. It's open to everybody. However you want to do it that way. You have an area that you're like, I'm pretty sure that's dense shade, but I really want to try a sunflower. Try it. Who knows what you'll get? You may get nothing, right? That's fine too. You'd be like, okay, well, I tried. I can't grow a sunflower there. You may get a sunflower. Just because we think it's shade, maybe there is a ton of reflected light. Years ago, anybody who hasn't heard this story, I grew a sunflower, got about 8 feet tall. This is the direction the sun was facing. But the wall behind it was white, and my sunflower grew like that. We didn't enjoy it. We couldn't, and it got so big I grew it in a 2-gallon pot, just so, a 1-gallon pot actually, just so that I could. So I had to anchor the pot so it didn't fall over, so I couldn't even turn it around. The only way I could enjoy my sunflower flower was to lean against the wall and tip it back, because there was more reflected sunlight off the wall than there was from the actual sun, so my sunflower faced that way. That was awesome. But you know what? I've never grown a sunflower there again. So I did learn something. Take time to enjoy it. Schedule time. It's that whole thing where, hey, what are you doing? I'm doing nothing. Oh, do you want to do this? No, I'm doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. It's not that I have nothing to do. I am doing nothing. Same thing with our garden. Too many times we forget to set time to enjoy it. Schedule a fire on the weekend. Schedule a harvest party, a garden party, a planting party, a weeding party. Have everybody come over and be like, we're all going to weed. When we're done, we're going to barbecue and I'm making a round of cocktails. You'll probably get a number of people who roll up to weed your garden for you. Many hands make light work. Have the party, enjoy it, get in the hammock, have your tea, your banana bread, your cocktail, your cigar, whatever your poison is, but get out there and enjoy that garden because that's what it's all about. So there's some tips for garden wellness. As you can tell, we're enthusiastic about it. If you have any questions or if you have any tips or hacks that you've done before, we'd love to hear that as well.